Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another month of Prehistoric Kingdom updates. Genuinely, I did not think that they were going to be dropping a update for April. Typically in the past, if you're new to Prehistoric Kingdom, typically in the past when they've come out with a big update, they forego the dev diary for that month. So this month, if you didn't know as well, was arguably the biggest update that they have ever released with the baby dinosaurs. And yeah, it's an incredible update. You can see here the little thumbnail for, nope, I didn't want to click that, for the update 14 that is live now. Again, if you haven't played the game since then, this is definitely one to check out. And if you have the game sitting in your Steam library, but you've been waiting for these updates and waiting for a time to jump back into the game, now is the time. And with this update and the next update, and honestly the update after that, we're nearing the end of the update cycle for Prehistoric Kingdom, for at least the early access update cycle for that. And it's really exciting to see this game get so close to the end and already be miles and miles ahead from any other game in this genre out there. So, you know, I'm talking Planet Zoo, I'm talking Zoo Tycoon, I'm talking Parkitect, and you know, there's tons of other games. Let's Build a Zoo is another one. Honestly, Prehistoric Kingdom in my mind is one of the peak games that I have ever played. And while this does not have the most hours in my Steam library of any other game that I have, shout out to Stellaris, but Prehistoric Kingdom is getting up there and will definitely, again, because of YouTube as well, will probably become one of, if not my most played game of all time. This is incredible. And yeah, it's currently 30% off right now. So if you don't have it, go get it. Go pick it up. There'll be a link in the description to go and get it. It's not an affiliate link. They don't pay me to say this. I just love this game and it's amazing. So yeah, definitely check it out if you don't have it, and if you've been tuning into these and just looking for a time, now is the time. They also, right at the top of this, again, the top of this update for this month is a lot of thank yous. You know, it was an enormous update: baby animals, seamless growth, herding, first person, and a lot of other stuff as well. They also are selling a plushie now. Personally, I'm not interested in this, but you know, pretty cool to see, and I'm sure there's a market out there for it somewhere. All right, let's jump into the meat and bones now of this dev diary, and this is mostly looking ahead to update 15. So this is probably one of the coolest images that I have ever seen come out of this game, where a Tyrannosaurus Rex is here and the Triceratops there in the background. This will probably be the thumbnail for the video if you're watching this in the future, but this is talking about looking forward. I don't believe update 15 is going to be bringing the combat to the game. I believe that's update 16 if I remember correctly. I could be mistaken. They might mention that in somewhere in here, but they're saying that one of the first things that they're changing is how the animals interact with each other. So you can see here this Triceratops is in a sort of defensive stance against this T-Rex that's across the water here. And, you know, previously, as they mentioned in the step diary, all the animals in the game will exist currently in harmony. So you could put a Jucia, a Paraceratherium, saber-toothed cat, woolly mammoth, and a T-Rex all in a enclosure, and none of them would bat an eye. You know, as long as they had like the right environment for those species to live in. You know, they wouldn't bat an eye, they wouldn't care that their predator, let alone their apex predator, would be in that same enclosure, that same environment. with them. And so one of the things that they're changing is how these animals interact with each other when they see them in that same enclosure. So again, you know, we can see here the Triceratops taking that defensive stance, and that's one of the things that they're going to be adding here. They say, namely, they're adding fleeing and threatening. So again, kind of playing into that fight or flight that you know, is so ubiquitous nowadays, of like, if you have a fight or flight mentality, you know, if you get into trouble and you want to run away, that's your fleeing, you're flying. And you know, if you want to stand your ground, that's what they're calling threatening, but that's sort of the fight response. Now, they don't have fighting in the game just yet. They again will be adding that in the future, but yeah, super cool to see that they're adding the bones for that here in this future update, or maybe this will even be in a hot fix, you know, that they drop sometime between the time of when update 14 comes out and update 15 comes out, if you're again watching this in the future. They also say here that they're combining it with the angry vocalizations. So if you didn't see those, go back and watch the previous month's dev diary, and you'll hear what those sort of sound like. Or, you know, again, if you're playing this in the future, you probably will have heard this at some point in the game anyway. They also say that this has potential for the interspecies or intra-species, I guess is technically correct, the same species relationships as well. So currently they'll form social bonds, social relationships off of the largest animal in the herd, which is kind of a cool way to do it. But what they're going to be doing instead is, for instance, they use the example of the Triceratops here, having a way for those more combat focused animals, I guess you could say, Triceratops, T-Rex, Ankylosaurus, those larger animals that have, you know, sort of means that they have evolved over time for combat and for strength displays. They will now actually challenge each other. So you'll see two male Triceratops, you know, sort of stand off with each other and sort of size each other up, and kind of see, you know, who's the top dog there in the herd. Pretty cool to see that as well. They also say that, again, you'll never see this from an animal like a Dryosaurus. That's just a very docile dinosaur from all accounts in basically every representation of media and what we know about them in the paleo record. So what they're going to be doing instead is, again, kind of just following what they have now, which is the largest animal will be the de facto, you know, head of that herd, which, again, pretty cool. This, if you guys didn't see, they updated the Torvosaurus for this past update. And, you know, it's funny because we actually built a Torvosaurus enclosure for Paleo Springs like a week before that update dropped. And so I didn't know that they were going to be revisiting this model. I'm really glad that they did. But if you want to see those new models in that enclosure we built, go and watch the park tour that we did last week, you know, at the time of this video releasing. Go watch that park tour and you'll see the new models of the Torvosaurus there in that same enclosure. Pretty cool stuff, and, you know, awesome. Yeah, Paleoflora. So this is really the meat and bones of this update here. This is really what it's going to be focusing on a lot. And they've already teased so many species of the Paleoflora that I'm really excited to get my hands on them. They say here that this is typically going to be boiling down to the two sort of eras that the parks operate in. So Cenozoic and Mesozoic. Cenozoic being the time that we live in currently, that's the time of the mammals. And Mesozoic is the time of the dinosaurs, you know, the Jurassic, Cretaceous, and the Triassic, you know, even before all of that. But they have a mock-up here of what this is kind of going to look like. And this is pretty similar to the the current expeditions that they have in the game for the fossils, and it makes me wonder. I don't know if this is a separate thing. It says that it's in the excavations menu, but in this mock-up here, it just shows the Paleoflora, and typically, we would have a I think is a dig site right around here somewhere for Argentinosaurus, and that's the largest animal in the game currently. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they integrate this with the current excavation menu and how that all sort of interacts. Really exciting to see there. They say here as well, just kind of hinting at the start of a challenge game. So Paleo Springs, if you keep up with the channel, is a challenge park, and you'll have access to those modern day Cenozoic plants. Makes sense. We live in the Cenozoic era, so we're gonna have those Cenozoic plants there available for the modern day versions at least. But there are a lot of plants that have gone extinct, and again are still going extinct today due to a variety of reasons that I won't get into, or YouTube will flag this video here. But yeah, so you're going to be having those modern day Cenozoic plants there, which, like they say, is great news for the mammals in your park, but not so much the dinosaurs. So yeah, you'll have to send out these dig sites here, or these expeditions, to go and find all of these plants. And I really like how this is integrated here. So again, this is kind of how it looks now. If you watch any of the Paleo Springs videos, this will look very familiar to you. This actually kind of looks like a new UI a little bit here, and I dig it. I like what they're doing with this here. I like it on the side. I like the format here of all of this. And the extinct plants here, the ones that you're going to be digging up from those dig sites, being here sort of in the in an unlockable area, I like that. I really like how that works here. They mention here, they kind of show the different sort of benefits that you would get from having these prehistoric plants in with your prehistoric animals, and so you'll get an ecology boost, you'll get wellness boost, stimulation for the herbivores while browsing. We will get into browsing, don't worry about that. They have a whole different section on that here. But yeah, you can kind of have a variety of benefits basically from having these prehistoric plants in that same habitat, basically attempting to make these habitats be as one-to-one as you can get to the habitats that these animals would have lived in. And I think that this is an incredible update for all of that sort of stuff there. So anyway, we'll jump into the browsing behaviors here, and you can see a picture here of Brachiosaurus browsing on this treetop. Previously, they would not do this in game. This is a very highly requested thing for these dinosaurs to do, and these animals to do in general, because the mammals will do it well. Yeah, here it is. So they say that this browsing behavior in sandbox mode will have an option where if they are browsing on the plants, they will be fed from browsing on those plants rather than having to eat from a feeder. This I do not like. I do not like that it is in sandbox mode and not in challenge mode. I think that this should be a feature that is across the board, acceptable for all modes of the game. And I think Paleo Springs, we're going to be running that so far into the future that if they add any of those toggleable switches onto challenge mode, we probably won't have those, just because we've already started the park and everything. And as unfortunate as it is, it just kind of is what it is. And maybe one day we'll convert Paleo Springs into a sandbox mode. That's a very far away thing. I don't know that I ever will, but yeah, I am not a fan of this. I think that it should be a substitute for the animals in challenge mode as well. You know, if you're putting in all that research, all that time, all that effort, all that money to get these prehistoric plants, and then in challenge mode, they don't do anything more than add a small boost onto the animals, I think that's kind of missing the point. But you know, that's my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, of course. I would love to know what you guys think about that. Do you think this is something that should be included in challenge mode? Do you think that it's something that should only be in sandbox mode? I genuinely would love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Moving on here, they're talking about the dietary requirements and new feeders, which was a surprise, and a very, very good surprise at that. The dietary requirements, they're kind of making this a requirement now, they say, in again in challenge mode, like where Paleo Springs is, where so they have the example of the Leolinosaura here that eats plants and fruit. And in this habitat, I guess they have fruit, but they don't have any plants. So you now have to add both of those in challenge mode. A good example of this, again, is the cave bear. So the cave bear can eat the plants and also meat. And so basically they're insinuating that you have to have both of those now in the enclosure, which I don't think anybody was kind of just getting away with one or the other. And calling it a day. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting. This though is super exciting, and I am really looking forward to a closer look at these in the dev diary that they're teasing here. But they're introducing new feeders, so they're adding small food trays. So again, for like the Leolinosaura here, a small feeder is perfect for them. They don't need one of the big standard feeders that we have in the game. And then also a faux meat and a faux carcass, or a fish carcass here. That's incredible. That's amazing. I can see that basically in every single enclosure that we have the carnivores in. If, big if, the carcass, the faux carcass there, has versions for mammals and dinosaurs. I think that's the only way it works. Because, you know, you can see that in zoos. Like one example, I'll try to find a picture of when I was a kid at the Jacksonville Zoo. They had a vulture enclosure there, and they had a faux zebra inside that enclosure, and they would put the food for the vultures in there, the meat in there, and they would eat from it, and it would kind of simulate for them, but also for the guests, that these vultures are, you know, having their natural behaviors. Really interested to see how that works out. Faux logs with fruit and insects, that's classic too. That's amazing. I love that. Really excited to see all of those again in a future update sometime. Moving on to even more paleobotany, to more paleoflora here. They're teasing a few more plants here. You know, I always feel bad because I don't know a lot of paleobotany, and these plant models are just incredible here. You know, this is some sort of cyad here, I believe, and yeah, a tropical cyad. Does it say what era? It does not, but it's a tropical cyad here. These are really similar to, you know, a lot of what we have here in Florida, where I live in Central Florida. We have the Kunti palms that, again, I'll try to put up a picture here now, but I love these paleofloras. Again, I just feel bad because I don't know a whole lot about them, and whenever they release this update with the paleoflora, I will try to make a video where we go over each and every one of them in greater detail. I'll try to write out, you know, a couple of sentences, maybe have it like a minute or two each for each species, and I'll release that video out to you guys so that you guys can kind of learn with me about some of these plants. Because yeah, I mean, as Miss T-Rex says, a tree is a tree. And as a Florida master naturalist myself, that pains me to say, but when it comes to paleobotany, a tree is kind of a tree. And I hate saying that, but you know, we'll learn together and we'll figure all that stuff out. Lastly here, they were just showing off some of the community spotlight stuff. This is an incredible picture here that somebody drew of Assassin Spino. That's amazing. If you're watching this, your artwork is incredible. They have Franco 192. This is a good one. I think I actually saw this one on Reddit here. Yeah, and I think, are these baby Carcharodontos here, or maybe Acros here? That's awesome. From Ovinator. That's awesome. This is amazing. Ending off here, just kind of, again, if you guys are new to Prehistoric Kingdom, or you have it sitting in your Steam library and you haven't played it, you've been waiting for updates, definitely give it a check out now. Give it a try, because it is in a state now where I think it is the most playable that it has been. When I jumped into the game, I think about a year ago, I forget even which update it was a year ago, but when I jumped in, the game was still rough around the edges, but it was at a state where I could play for a solid day straight before I started to really feel the bugs and the glitches and things like that. Now it's at a point where I genuinely think it's not even comparable to other games, again, in the same genre of, Planet Zoo and stuff like that. Planet Zoo is obviously the biggest titan in this industry of like zoo management games, I would say. And Prehistoric Kingdom, I think at the 1.0, this is going to be incredible. And this, I don't know if it will ever blow Planet Zoo out of the water completely, but I think that where the game is at now, it has a fighting chance. And this game is incredible. It deserves all the love in the world. That is where I'm going to leave it here. Again, I'm kind of rambling. If you're new to the channel, I ramble here, but that's where I'm going to leave it. And if you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. You spent your very valuable time, and I really, really appreciate that, to watch this video. There's a million things you could have been doing, and you chose to spend that time here with me. So again, I can't thank you enough for checking out this video. If you did like this video, feel free to like and subscribe so that you are here for the future videos that we post on the channel. And that's where I'm going to leave it. So thank you again so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Take care for now.